Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another workout session. As you guys know, we're doing these together every Monday and Friday as a way to keep each other accountable, motivate each other, making sure that we are doing something that we know is right for us, even though we might not really feel like doing it. And so, in a way to motivate myself, I started this little series within the channel where every Monday and Friday we get together and we do our 20 to 30 minute workout. And it can be anything you want. You know, I do my kettlebell swings, I do 100, and then I do my dumbbell curls. That's a latest addition. But, you know, feel free to do whatever it is that you're doing. It's just as long as we do it together, that's really the most important thing. So let's just get into it without any further ado. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and today I am sporting my drawstring backpack. Sometimes I wear this to keep my dreads contained. If you're seeing these for the first time, seeing me for the first time, I have really long hair, and I have this drawstring backpack that's pretty light, and I started using it when my hair got long enough that it was a hassle walking around or being out and about. When it started getting basically below my knees is when it started being a little more troublesome. Probably going on 4 years, I think, that I started wearing the backpack. Because I remember it was during the pandemic, and I was trying to go on walks, and it got to the point where the hair was just cumbersome enough to walk, you know, just walking around. And if it was rainy or something, like it was easy for like the back of my shoes to start touching the hair and get it all muddy and stuff. And so I remember there was like a little, one of those drawstring, what do they call them? Because it wasn't necessarily a backpack, but one of those little drawstring gym bags, you know what I'm talking about, that instead of actually having straps is literally just the string. And it was tiny, but I wore it for one of my walks and I thought, oh, this is brilliant. This is what I should do, you know, because it's like simple. You put it in there and that's it. The dreads are out of the way, you know, and it's evolved till we got to this iteration. But, you know, and ever since my dreads have gotten a lot longer. All right, let's do another set. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And so now that my hair is long enough that it's, you know, full on touching the floor now, I really just can't have it down, even in the house. Because it's the floor is dirty and I just don't want it picking up all that dirt. And so it's either I wrap it with that little thingy around my neck, or I put it in this sometimes when I go out to make sure that it stays out of the way. And I always get a lot of looks. If I'm walking around, most people don't notice it because it just looks like I'm wearing a backpack, right? Some people might notice the dreads, but for the most part, it doesn't look like anything. It just looks like I'm wearing a backpack and that's it. The looks that I get are from when I get to like, it's usually restaurants. I get to a restaurant or like a cafe or, something like that. And people are like, sir, you can take off your backpack. Please relax, make yourself comfortable. And then I have to go through the whole, and explain the whole thing. And sometimes people don't get it. They're like, no, but you can take it. It's like, you don't understand. And I still don't have like a simple one-liner. Like I always say, like, my hair goes down to the floor, so that's why I put it in the backpack. And that doesn't cut it. People don't get it. Like most people give me this look of like, I understand the words that you said, but that makes no sense. And then sometimes I have to do the whole, like, I start taking it off a little bit and I show them look, and then they go, oh. And most people say, I've never seen anything like that. And so I know that people with dreads this long is somewhat rare, but I don't know that it's that rare. Maybe it is. All right. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And I mean, I guess I personally don't really know anyone with dreads this long, but you go online and you see pictures of people that have some pretty long dreads. I've seen, there's a woman in Florida, I don't know her name, but I think she holds the world record. I think her dreads are the longest ever. But I've seen a video of like an older guy in Jamaica, I believe, who has really long dreads. I don't know. I remember when I lived in LA, there was right on 7th, there's like a 7th Street, there's like a food court. What was it called now? There's a Target in there. It's in downtown Los Angeles. If you're from LA, you probably know what I'm talking about. The 7th Street little food court thingy. Right next to the Korean Air building, the new one, the really tall one with the cool rooftop bar. There were always like a set of taxis parked outside, and one of the taxi drivers, because I used to go there a lot and used to see him a lot, and my dreads weren't that long or as long as his at that point, but his were like past his knees, like below his knees at the time. And so I know that there are people who dreads this long. "31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Whew. Anyway, that is also when I was doing ping pong the first few times that I was playing with someone new or someone new to the class and stuff, they would always say, like, it's like, you know, you can take off your backpack. It's all kind of like the same idea of like, you don't have to keep it with you. Somebody said like, oh, you can leave your stuff over there. It'll be safe. And then I had to explain like, oh, it has nothing to do with me feeling like my stuff's not going to be safe. And so, since it was only, I guess, sometimes you get people that make nasty comments. And I remember when I first wanted to get dreads, and we're talking about, almost 20 years ago. I guess that's a question somebody asked, or a lot of people ask all the time is, when was the last time you cut your hair? So the last time I cut my hair was over 20 years ago. It was January 2004. was the last time I cut it. But I've had I had my dreads made, or my brother, really. You guys met my brother on the channel a few months ago now, a couple months ago. He was the one who did them initially, did the first process of starting to create the dreads. And we did it in either June or July of 2008. So that is like 16 years ago. Almost 16 years ago that I had the dreads made. But for the most part, I remember the reason I was saying that. I forgot where I was going. No, I remember. Let me get another set in. Let's get to halfway and I'll keep going with my story. 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. When I first wanted to get them made, a friend of mine who for some reason was very opposed to the idea said, oh, you know, people are gonna look at you like you're disgusting. You know, it's gonna be so gross. People are gonna, you know, you're gonna be profiled so much more. And yeah, I remember him saying that there was a lot of negativity from him, coming from him at that point. And, you know, I disagreed and I really wanted to do it. So I did it, obviously. But for the most part, I would say like at least 98% of the comments that I get about my dreads are from positive to extremely positive. People really like them. People find them interesting. They compliment them a lot. You know, just generally, there's always a very positive vibe around them. Just every once in a while, you get some fuckers who are, I don't know, just, you know, nasty for the sake of being nasty, I guess. There was a guy at ping pong a couple weeks ago, older guy, never really met him. He was really good, and I was having a difficult time keeping up with him during the match that we were supposed to play. Let me do one more set, and I'll keep going. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Anyway, so the guy we were playing, because it's basically the ping pong class basically goes like, you get assigned a partner and you run some drills, and then like the last 45 minutes or so of the 2-hour class is you're playing matches against each other. And I'm usually at the bottom table. It's basically like, you know, you have one match per table, and if you're at the low table, if you lose, you stay, and the person who lost on the table next up comes down, and whoever wins moves up one. So, you know, moving up and down depending on whether you win or lose. And I'm usually at the bottom table because everyone there is like really, really good. And so I'm playing this older guy, must be, I don't know, 60s, I guess. And I'm having a difficult time keeping up with him. He's really good. And for some reason, that bothered him. People get really, that's something that I haven't enjoyed as much in this. People get extremely competitive during ping pong class. Very competitive. And you'd think that someone who's beating the shit out of me is enjoying, you know, the easy match. Something didn't really quite sit right with him. Like, he was like annoyed that he was beating me so easily. And so then he says something like, could you play better if you took off your backpack? Or something like that. It sounded a little like aggressive in that way, you know, like maybe the backpack is weighing you down and that's why you can't play better. So he says, yeah, something, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember, but something along the lines of, could you play better if you took off your backpack? And I remember thinking, at that moment, I didn't think anything of it. You know, I didn't react. I just said like, oh, I can't, you know, because my hair is, you know, so I actually have the backpack so that my hair, and he didn't understand. And I said, my hair is really long. And so, your hair is long? And I said, yes, my hair. And then he says, and so then like I try to show him, like take off my backpack and try to show him. And he says, that's hair? I said, yeah, that's hair. Like, that's your natural hair. I said, yeah, that's my natural hair. And then the next question, and this is, I didn't think much of it in the moment. But then, you know, talking about with Yolima and talking about with other people, that's when I was like, huh. His next question was, what ethnicity are you? And at the moment, I didn't think anything of it, but I was a little taken aback by the question, as in, what? How does that, what kind of sense does that make? And he said, yeah, what ethnicity are you? Where are your parents from? And, you know, granted, this is a white Argentinian older dude. And I said, I still was like, in my head, I guess I was innocently thinking, what does my parents being from somewhere have anything to do with my hair? And then after, you know, and so I was like, they're from Colombia? Oh, I get it. And we just kept playing and that was it. And then it wasn't until after the fact that I was like, was this motherfucking being racist? You know? And, you know, I've talked to some people about it because I thought the interaction was interesting. And some people said yes. Most people have said yes. I don't know that was his intention, or at least not on purpose. You know, it wasn't purposeful in that way. But afterwards, I felt a little like, huh. But, you know, such are the things that happen when you have unusual hairstyles, which is bullshit. I'm not justifying it in any way, you know, or normalizing it in any way, you know. It's your fucking hair. Who cares? 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. So, interesting things happen when your hair is this long, but for the most part, I have had, like I said, 98% of people find it very interesting in a positive way, are amused by it. Some people love it, some people want to touch it. Sometimes the touching can be a bit of a problem. You guys know that I'm not necessarily a germaphobe, but I don't know if this term is correct, but I always say oleophobe because I don't like greasy stuff. And so I always feel like everyone's hands are greasy. And, you know, people are coming up to touch my hair. I don't want it, you know, and like, interestingly enough, I guess if my hair wasn't dreaded, if somebody was touching my hair, I wouldn't really care that much because you'll just go home and wash it out and it's very simple. But if you get something in here, you know, like it's not as easy to get it out as just like going and rinsing off a little bit. I don't know, like I'm thinking something gross. You know, someone has like honey on their fingers. And I guess something like honey wouldn't be that big a deal because it'll, you know, it's an organic compound. But I don't know, like a piece of gum or something. Like that shit would be really hard to get out of this. And so I usually don't want people touching my hair. And in some countries, there isn't, you know, personal space isn't as respected as in other places. And some people just want to fucking touch it. And so I've had to be in some places a little more cautious with people wanting to touch my hair. But it's usually, that and like children. Children are very, and like some small children don't realize that it's attached to my head. So they pull on it and like, I've had some little kids pull the shit out of one of my dreads that hurt really bad. Because it's almost like they don't connect. And I'm talking about like toddlers, like very young children. They don't really connect that this is attached to my hair. If you pull it, it's gonna hurt, like anybody's hair. They just yank on it. So, always very interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 80. Whew, we're getting close, guys. 2 more sets, and we done. And we are done. I'm gonna turn on the AC a little bit. We're supposed to be in autumn, in fall. Weather's supposed to be cooling down here in Argentina, but for some reason, it's really wacky all over the place. Some cool days, and then some hot days. Humidity is always bad. It's always a thing here, and so very humid. And of course, the hair doesn't help in the heat. I'm a person who naturally runs warm. I was talking about this with my brother, who, if you guys happen to watch that video, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. This was a few months back, and there are a lot of videos in this channel. But I had an interesting conversation with my brother, who recently lost 100 pounds. And same as me, he was always warm. He was always really hot. And he said that one of the strangest things after losing the weight is that he's cold so much now. Like, he's now cold a lot of the time, something that was the opposite and still is the opposite for me. Like, I can't remember when was the last time I wore any kind of winter clothes in the US. Like, I know I had to wear a winter jacket, like I do when I go skiing, or last year in Iceland, during the winter in Iceland, I had to wear like a winter jacket, but for the most part, like winters in DC, I don't even wear anything different. I'm usually just not, I don't really get that cold, but he says that after losing the weight, he gets really cold, and so that's interesting. And so is that something that's gonna happen to me? 81, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90. One more set. One more set and we are done. One more set. And then we go on to our dumbbells. Something that I'm working on doing, and it's been a little trickier than I thought, is I'm trying to put together some kind of a weekly roundup. One of the, I guess, biggest sources of value for me in this process has been just gaining the experience of going through this for such a long period of time and gaining, the knowledge that comes with it. And so I've been wanting for a while to put together this sort of a newsletter, almost like a weekly roundup that gets posted every week with basically like a summary of the things that we were trying this week and some like key ideas, some lessons, some like takeaways, maybe some actionable steps. And so I did I've done 2 so far. I think I'm behind 1. It's tricky because these videos usually come out a week after. And so I just posted 1, and I need to do the next one that's gonna come out. See, I always get confused with the dates. So never mind the dates, but I'm trying to do this, and I want to share with you guys all the things that I'm actively measuring. And so it's a number of things. I'm measuring my weight, I'm measuring my body fat percentage, I'm measuring my blood pressure, I'm measuring my calorie burn, my calorie intake, then breaking that down into carbs, proteins, and fats. I'm tracking my sleep. Like, there are a number of things that I'm tracking in order to improve my health, which is the main goal of this. And I'm creating these little graphs that kind of show the tracking of it, and sort of like, I want to do like an analysis. And I haven't been able to do it because I still don't know quite how to do it. And then I'm busy and with other things. And so far I've published 2 of those. I've published 2 of those, basically just kind of doing like a roundup, a summary of everything that we tried that week or that we were working on or doing that week. And so I've published that, but I want to add to it. I guess I was trying to launch as quickly as possible because otherwise I will get stuck in the planning phase. If you're a procrastinator like me, you know that we can stay in that planning phase for months. And so I wanted to get something going as quickly as possible and then tinker and improve. And so far I've published 2, and they're basically really basic. But the idea is to continue to improve on them. Let me get the last set and we'll keep talking about that. 91, 2, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. We did it. Ugh. We did it. All right, let's just go straight into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So far the 2 that I've published are as basic as they get, but I'm going to expand because I do want to do more of like a data analysis. So if you like data, if you're a little data nerd like me and you like numbers and you like seeing, the type of stuff that I'm eating, the calories that I'm consuming, and how everything that plays a part in human health is contributing to my weight loss and the improvement of my health. I'm working on creating that resource, and I still don't know if I'm going to stick with it, but basically there are 2 different platforms that I've been considering. One originally was Substack, and it's like a platform. I've never used it. I don't know anything about it, but in my research I saw that it was like a platform for publishing newsletters and written stuff. It seemed to be geared more towards writers, and I don't know that I consider this Project Dad, which is why I ended up going with another platform that is what we're using, called Buy Me a Coffee. And it's basically, what I liked about that one, it seemed like a simpler setup, and all you have to do is just do a quick setup. You sign up for their website, and that's it. There's not a lot of tinkering that you need to do in order to do these things. And so I had, at least that had an appeal to me in order to get started, and that's why I was able to get started. But it needs to improve, and I'm working on improving that, including more information that hopefully will be useful to you guys, and you'll find it as interesting as I do. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. So something that I was able to create on that Buy Me a Coffee that I think you can also do in Substack, but I'm not sure, is I was able to create a sort of like a membership. Basically, like I wanted to create a group of people who are like my original supporters of this project, where basically I wanted to do it, without having to pay anything. But Buy Me a Coffee doesn't let you do a membership in that way without having to actually pay something. And the reason I wanted it to be a membership is because I wanted to create like a lifetime membership for the 25 people who are like my first core supporters, who've been, with me from the beginning. And I call the beginning anything that has happened before I get below 300. So when I was over 300 pounds, basically. And, and so in order to do it, it had to be, the smallest value was $1. So basically like $1, and then you become one of the founding family of the project, and that way you'll have access to everything that we post on that platform forever. At least that's what I'm testing out right now. I know I have one member, but if you're interested in that, in having these sort of weekly roundups and eventually having more data, more of the specifics of the foods that I'm eating, the calories, how many, all that data that I was talking about that I'm measuring and seeing how it relates to the weight loss and how I'm feeling and how my health is progressing, then you might want to, I'm going to include a link. And so that might be, if you're interested in something like that, this might be a good opportunity to become part of the founding family and make sure they always have access to that. Because I think it could be a very cool resource to be able to look at all that data and be able to relate it to the videos and everything that was happening around that time, and see how everything has a very specific impact on not just losing weight, but becoming a healthier person. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and 60. And so, if this is something that perhaps is of interest to you, we'll be exploring it over the next few weeks. I was having a little trouble figuring out how to create these charts, because the problem with a lot of these things is there are so many things that I'd like to do for a project like this that can be, end up becoming useful resources for people, and something that's useful for myself, that I find useful, that I wish that I had found before. If I can do it, then it might be useful for someone else. But the problem is that anything that I try to do requires a crazy amount of time investment to figure it out, and some financial investment to be able to figure out how to put it out there and stuff like that. And so I'm trying to figure out what the easiest, most cost-effective way of doing some of these things is. And so that's what takes a little bit of time to figure out, like what the easiest way to do it is. But so far, it's a good start, I guess, but it's going to keep improving from there. All right, last set, and then we're done. 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. And yes, I'm only doing 80 reps of this. We started with 60, now doing 80, and eventually we'll work our way up to 100. But that is it for our workout. Thank you guys for being here with me today. And again, remember, if you're having any trouble doing this on a consistent basis, we're here every Monday and every Friday. And, if you need that extra motivation, we're here. And just come and do it with us. All right. See you tomorrow.